praise every day that Tower of Fantasy is a soul story. Is it true to its name or just a superficial one? Tower of Fantasy 4.0 version due to its excellent storyline performance. Not only does word of mouth achieve a reversal, many plot twists have also gone viral. But these are just stories on the surface. Just like you clear the Black Soul level. Maybe all I know is the ignition pile along the way. The plot of Jesto's sector is far from simple. Below, Xiaofeng will take everyone to inventory the details you missed. The first point. Nora's identity is a federal agent with amnesia. As the elder sister of the Wednesday Theft Gang, not only excellent in strength, but also, her figure is also abnormally swollen. As soon as she appears, she keeps the player's eyes fixed on her. Her identity has also aroused a lot of curiosity among people. In the main line, we need to forge identity to infiltrate Aurora Industries HQ in cooperation with Wednesday. But Nora didn't arrange her identity. After talking to her, we will get this answer. She is a person who does not exist in the system. She has never been recognized before. So she doesn't need to wear a mask on weekdays either. There are two pieces of information here. The first one, the system does not refer to Jesto's sector, but the registered residence system. Grey Fox on Wednesday is a top hacker. As long as there is her file, she definitely won't miss it. Unable to find file. That means her personal profile has extremely high confidentiality or has never been registered. This situation also exists in reality. Agents or assassins. The files of the agents are classified as top secret. Killers have no fixed records. There is another reason to speculate that she is a spy or a killer. That's her own strength. Anka worshipped her as a teacher for revenge. At the beginning, a little girl named Siggy begged me to teach her because she wanted to avenge her parents against Aurora Industries. For this reason, she was willing to give up all the past. But don't worry, my skills are taught by my elder sister. Climbing a window or something is easy. All the skills are taught by Nora. Ordinary people do not possess such skills, although it is speculated that there are two. However, the likelihood of a killer is not high. Killers also need to forge files to carry out missions. Otherwise, how to appear reasonably in front of the public? And Nora is a person who doesn't exist in the system. It indicates that her file has been hidden or deleted internally. This leads to the second message. She has already lost her memory. If she remembers being a spy, she wouldn't have acted so high profile. This also corresponds to the second sentence. Never recognized before. This sentence was originally intended to describe disguising oneself very well. But she didn't disguise herself in any way. So it expresses another layer of meaning. No one recognizes who she really is. This could also be the reason why Nora joined the Thief Squad. She hopes to be active through her own efforts. Attract the attention of familiar people to find identity clues. However, the news that can be proven is not like this. Alright, Xiaofeng won't keep it a secret anymore. Her original name was Antolia. It's a federal agent responsible for counterterrorism. This message comes from a dark web message in the dataset. If we take Nora's amnesia and her strong strength, combined with Antonia's anti-terrorism and disappearances, it's easy to think of the connection between the two. This also explains why the secret base of the Wednesday Gang can be located in Odin's Tavern. It's definitely not Anka's face, but it's Nora's face. In that case, the identity of Boss Baggies is interesting. I just want to remind the guests that this wine is very special. Gungnir is Odin's weapon, also known as the Spear of Destiny. Once thrown, it will hit. In the Odin's Tavern. As long as you are willing to spend money, you can buy your life. But at most only 72 hours. No force or organization can capture you. But as long as the deadline is passed, protection will disappear. This means that Baggies is either from a huge background, either it's extremely strong. Strong enough that no one dares to provoke. So his intention of taking Nora in is very suspicious. Does he know Nora's previous identity or not? Putting aside these, let's not talk about it. The name Baggies is also very interesting. Baggies, bugs. And the Jesto sector just happens to be a virtual world interpreted by supercomputers. Can this be a coincidence? The reasons for Nora's amnesia will also be discussed later. Let's take a look here. The second point. The Omnium Energy Plague has been changed into a space-time mutation disaster. This first appeared in the conversation of NPC in Hycro's headquarters. From their conversations, we learned that because of Hycro's confidentiality regulations, they changed the name of space-time mutation disaster to Omnium Energy Plague, which is known to the outside. This approach is actually confusing the audience to cover up the truth of the mutation. But this still won't defeat Xiaofeng. In the game's transition UI, Xiaofeng found a more detailed introduction. A spatio-temporal disaster discovered by human beings in the process of exploring space and time with Omnium energy. Unable to isolate through physical means in reality. Subsequently, it spread globally. After the cataclysm, it was renamed as Omnium Energy Plague. This is different from the truth of Omnium energy that we heard from Elric. But the process sweeping across the world is the same. This is why the second regression was launched. In this message, the most important are the two places. One place is to discover a word. The second point is that it is impossible to isolate. We always thought that the cataclysm was made by Hycros himself. But now it seems that the truth is not so. Explanation of the word discovery. Time and space disasters are inherent. Just happened to be discovered by humans exploring time and space. Later on, it was discovered that it was impossible to isolate it. Forced to do nothing but launch the second time retracement. As a result, the Omnium reactor exploded, which led to the cataclysm. Afterwards, in order to cover up the truth of the time and space disaster, Hycros changed his mouth and claimed that Omnium Energy Plague had occurred. Afterwards, they will vigorously develop suppressors. It can prevent the invasion of time and space disasters on the human body, but it cannot be isolated. So there will still be aberrate creatures in Asperia. Then the experiment of discovering space-time disasters is the first-time retracement. The third point, the origin reappears. The history of Distant Beacon is officially recognized. Old fans all know that. Xiaofeng's Tower Science Foundation is based on the StarCraft Distant Beacon. The first human contact with Omnium energy was in AD 2531. This point was also confirmed in the transition UI. Distant Beacon was attacked by unknown celestial bodies. Then we found the origin with Omnium energy. The origin also appeared in Aurora Industries HQ. Researcher, it's your turn. That's right, what's inside the jar is the origin. At the end of the battle between the protagonist and Nemesis, the protagonist is sent back to the surface world. The origin is what caused the floor to explode. In fact, this is not the first time it has appeared in a new version. Through the deep scraping by Xiaopeng, discovered that it was discovered as early as the official disclosure. The origin has already appeared. This is the SAM database information in the dynamic of Bilibili. It is recorded above that. Human beings rely on the origin of peculiar objects. Manufacture the Omnium reactor, the core component of Tower of Fantasy, so as to realize the traction of Mara. And obtain Omnium energy in Mara. The origin is the core of Omnium reactor. This also shows that Aurora Industries HQ is also studying the origin. And it's being studied behind the back of the Federal Center. But Xiaopeng is very curious. Where do all these origins come from? Far away, not to mention, Domain 9's infinite sundial transformation also needs a new Omnium reactor. If an origin corresponds to a reactor, where are the sources of so many origins? The origin not only appears in the explosion, it also exists in the game's transition UI. I have to say that the details of the Tower of Fantasy are really outrageous. This is the loading screen. This is the completed loading screen. Can you notice the difference? Pay attention to the icon in the bottom left corner. You can see that the former is written as Detected Origin Resonance Effect. The latter is the Tower of Fantasy joint startup has been completed. This introduction should be the record of the time when Mara's comet was captured. Through the interaction of multiple Tower of Fantasies, successfully captured Mara as Aida's satellite. Are you sweating profusely from the details of the Tower of Fantasy? Ah, yes. My impressive AC now shows you my true face. Aren't you all shocked? But the plot of the origin is not limited to this. In the plot, Nora experienced a brief loss of consciousness after seeing the origin. This indicates that she had seen the origin before losing her memory. There are two inferences here. The first one is that she is responsible for protecting the origin, participated in spatiotemporal experiments at the origin. The second one is that she is an investigator, witnessed the villain conducting experiments at the origin. The Federal Center has expressly prohibited unauthorized research on new Omnium energy technologies. So either Nora was attacked during the protection process, either she was exposed during the investigation process. This has changed from Antonia's amnesia to Nora's. Point 4. Divine descendants officially appear in the game, since the history of Distant Beacon has been recognized. So everything that happens on the spaceship is real. To cope with the mutation, we have studied genetic modification plans on the spacecraft and they have been successful. Only a small number of people have undergone modification and successfully immunized. In the later praise of Zeke, they are known as divine descendants. Coincidentally, in the Jest Host Sector world, the current head of government is Kira, the Secretary General of the Federal Central Committee. The name Kira, I believe Gundam fans will not be unfamiliar with it. A driver with high freedom. At the same time, he is also a genetically modified new human, officially named after him. Somewhat metaphorical in meaning. In the world of Gundam, Kira is the chosen son standing on the opposite side of the world. I wonder if it will be the same in Tower of Fantasy. Point 5. The goal of the Sage appears. In the new version, not just a new plot has emerged. The plot of the beginner phase has also been changed. Let's take a look at what the Sage said. The plan has begun, and it is imperative to obtain the key to the door. Authorizer, this is the power that can change time and space. It is imperative to obtain the key to the door. Authorizer, this is the power that can change time and space. The key to the door refers to the supercomputer Jest Hose. The name of Jest Hose comes from Jest Hose. It is also known as the key to a door. One of the aims of the Sage is to. But later on, the amount of information will be even greater. Authorizer can change time and space. How did he know? This requires instances as a reference. That means someone has done it before. But this authorizer will not be us. It won't be Plotty. He should be the authorizer before the cataclysm. It happened that the name of the authorizer really appeared in the introduction of Future Humanism. It was Lucius, the authorizer, who proposed this theory. Let's take a look at the logo of Futurism. The triangle in the middle represents the Tower of Fantasy. The arc represents the orbit. Star is Comet Mara. FH is the abbreviation for Future Human, meaning future humanity. This doctrine believes that Omnium energy is the future of mankind. Lucius is also known as the authorizer before the cataclysm. If it's true why the Sage believes this point that the authorizer can change time and space firmly, he could very well be the reason. If he really changed time and space, at what time will that be? Do you still remember number 968 that Frege has been pursuing? The reason why the second regression failed. It was him who caused it. Which can also be confirmed by Elric. It's true that the second regression failed because someone intervened. Now we know that the dominant backtracking is Jest Hose, a super quantum computer transformed by Omnium energy. The only person who can operate Jest Hose is the authorizer. So the success or failure of space-time backtracking actually depends on the authorizer. He is the only one who can tamper with parameters during the backtracking process. But why did he make backtracking fail? This is point 6. The legend of the Tower of Babel has come true. Legend has it a long time ago. Human beings have decided to build a towering tower due to their arrogance. This blatant provocation angered the gods in the sky. So God began to use language to divide the humans who built towers. Due to the lack of communication between languages, human division of labor and cooperation are forced to stop. The tower was not built at last. This is the legend of the Tower of Babel. It is also a source of inspiration for the Tower of Fantasy. Now return to the game. Is it true that the current situation of the Just Host sector is the same? Use of Omnium Energy. Some support while others oppose. In contrast, Domain 9's use of Domain Energy is much more united. This is why Domain 9 can develop rapidly. Without the attack of darkness, Domain 9 has achieved no less than Ida. On Aida's side, due to the emergence of future humanism and Aza-Adonism, the conflict between the two has been a constant internal friction. The federal ban on Omnium Energy has further inhibited the development of Omnium Energy. All of this seems to be a struggle between two interest groups. But what if someone doesn't want to see human beings master Omnium Energy? Omnium Energy is not the replacement of wind energy and solar energy, but rather a superpower. It is a force that can cross the barriers of civilization. This reminds me of a conspiracy theory I've seen before. In the universe, higher civilizations will plant spies in lower civilizations. When lower civilizations are about to master cross-civilization level technology, they will cause trouble in it, so as to keep the lower civilization as the lower civilization. Could Lucius be such a spy? On the surface, he holds high the banner supporting Omnium Energy. In fact, he is to intensify the contradictions between humans. And at the last moment, he turned his back and struck a blow. However, these are all speculations based on the Babylonian legend. It also depends on the development of the game plot later on. Point 7. Comet Mara has finally been put into the game. In the Just Host sector world, at night, you can see a star crossing the night sky. This star is Comet Mara. In the Just Host sector world, Mara was captured as a satellite of planet Ida, so it can be seen with the naked eye. What did we see before in Asperia and Vera? The answer is nothing. In the renovation of Infinite Sundial in Domain 9, Revi once said, Mara is in a higher dimension. We cannot see it with the naked eye. So here's the question. Why did Comet Mara go to a higher dimension after the cataclysm? There is actually a cognitive misconception here. It's not necessarily Comet Mara's rising dimension. It may also be caused by cataclysm. The whole planet Ida star, including Domain 9, has reduced dimensions. Dimension is a difficult concept to explain. Just like in the eyes of ants, the world is three-dimensional. But in our view, the world it sees is flat. So the dimension of our cognition may not necessarily be the cognition when looking at us from a higher dimension. But this also clarifies one thing. When the Domain 9 battle is over, after the Celestial Cannon is launched, Comet Mara appears. Previously, we thought it had been dimensionally reduced. Now we realize that we have actually upgraded our dimensions. At that moment, Domain 9 returned to the original dimension. This also indicates that humans want to return to their original time and space, to reconnect with the Earth. Omnium Energy is an indispensable auxiliary force. Although the plot of Tower of Fantasy 4.0 has received a lot of positive feedback from everyone, but in Xiaofeng's opinion, the plot is actually simpler and easier to understand than before. The conversation has become straightforward. Don't beat around the bush or deliberately create riddles. The benefit of doing this is, newcomers can also understand the plot and participate in discussions. The downside is that the deeper clues are completely unbound from the main storyline. For example, the content of this issue. Almost none of them appears in the main storyline, but they are all closely related to the main storyline. If the previous interpretation of Xiaofeng is the interpretation of the Riddler of the Tower of Fantasy, the current interpretation seems to have a complementary relationship with the main storyline. So on my side, it's even more obscure and difficult to understand. Don't rush for those who haven't understood. The worldview of Tower of Fantasy is very vast. Previously, it was only criticized for its performance in the plot. Xiaofeng is already organizing the commentary version of the entire plot of Tower of Fantasy. Take you through the story of Tower of Fantasy from beginning to end. Just follow and wait for the follow-up. Alright, that's all for this issue. Follow Xiaofeng to experience a different Tower of Fantasy.